I think a lot of people dream about doing something they love for a living, then realize that even if you love something, it's still work. There's no way around it. A hobby is something you enjoy when you want to enjoy it, and a job is something you have to do whether you like it or not. Don't get me wrong, playing with toy helicopters for a living is pretty sick, but there is a ton of work that goes into video production and a YouTube channel. On top of keeping these pieces of shit flying, you know what I mean? But let's say you love FPV and want to make money doing it. Enough money that it's your main source of income. Is it feasible in 2024? Are all the good jobs taken? I don't know. Let's find out. The way I see it, there are two main routes you can take to try to achieve this. One, starting a YouTube channel, and two, doing gig work. Now I know there are other drone related jobs, there's agricultural, warehouse stuff, survey stuff, but for this video, I'm just gonna focus on these two since they're the easiest to stealth start from scratch. Hey, so you're into FPV? Maybe you're a naturally funny person and you're good on camera. Maybe you have a knack for explaining complicated electrical systems to the layman and you want to make money on YouTube. Well, the first thing you need to do in any case is start making videos. Don't wait until you have the best camera or 10 videos planned out. Just start. Make a flying video. Make a how-to on that thing you learned last week. Film a cool video of you hiking to a cool spot to fly. The important thing is that you just start. I know a few folks who dumped some serious money into camera gear and lighting only to quit after a few videos because they felt overwhelmed or lacked the drive to do it. And your first 10 videos are gonna suck no matter what, but that's okay. You don't know what you're doing and you need to figure it out as you go. You need to figure out your flow, what kind of style you have. For me, I got lucky because I'm a weird dude and I'm pretty self-aware. So when I started making videos in 2016, there was no other face tattooed, cussing pothead dudes into FPV on YouTube. So I stood out right away and I knew I would. And because I stood out, I got a lot of hate from just like the normal RC crowd, And the internet loves polarizing things, so I got free press from people hate posting about me on Reddit and Facebook, which only helps me get my name out there more. But that's me and my weird looking ass in 2016 when I was one of the only consistent FPV channels. In 2024, you're gonna have to work a little bit harder. There are tons of channels now all kind of doing the same thing and it's not really working. I'm not saying that I get a ton of views or anything, especially when compared to the rest of YouTube, but I consistently get more views on my videos than larger channels like Rotor Riot, who was a staple in FPV content for years. But if you look at their stats and view count now, it's nothing compared to what it used to be. And why that is, I'm not really sure. I think it's because they've been using the same formula for almost a decade. So the people that used to fuck with them are either over them or they just don't watch FPV videos anymore because they moved on to other hobbies. And new people getting into FPV just don't care about watching four dudes fly drones in some trees. And I'll compare that to the evolution of my videos, which are just pure chaos. I have no rhythm to what I put out. It could be a gorilla video, could be a flamethrower, or just me complaining about the state of FPV for 10 minutes. And I think that might be kind of a draw for my channel. If you have no idea what video you're gonna get next week, you're gonna be intrigued and come back. And that's what you need to do. Not copy me, but you need to be original and creative. We've all seen 10,000 videos of three dudes flying drones in some trees. Who cares? I'm over that. In 2024, you're gonna have to be on the level of Murders FPV, Dan Z, or any of these crazy TikTok kids to even get noticed from flying alone. There are some amazing pilots out there now. Mediocre flying, such as mine, it's not going to get you anywhere. But even if you are the best pilot in Cincinnati, you still probably aren't going to make a living flying FPV. Most YouTubers rely on ad revenue and sponsorship deals. There's only a handful of FPV videos that are even over the 1 million view mark. You would need to get that basically every single video to be successful in that way. The other option is to do what I do and have a YouTube channel, but you're just like some FPV guy. I personally didn't monetize my channel until a few months ago because fuck ads. I started off doing Patreon and it's been my main source of income ever since I started. In case any OGs are wondering why I started monetizing my channel, it's because YouTube puts ads on your shit no matter what when you put music on it. So I was like, if they're gonna fucking put ads on it anyway, I'll take that 10 bucks or whatever. Also, use an ad blocker in your browser. Although this approach of just being like an FPV person still has the same problem with relying on ad revenue, unless you do a Patreon. You need a lot of views to make it feasible. Okay, so here's me for example. I sold out for the entire month of November as a bit and made a whopping $200 in YouTube ad revenue and $50 in goofy Amazon affiliate links. So I rely on Patreon. And to make it worthwhile to my patrons, I spend $400 plus a month on stickers to mail them. I spend a good amount of money to make these weekly videos, so there's always something for them to watch. And like I said a few videos ago, I'm only making a little bit more than my homies that are working in the service industry, but at least I get to feel artistically fulfilled with this job and play with drones and camera gear. And if I really wanted to, I could go the affiliate link route and make my channel more YouTube friendly for more views, but I don't really care. Money isn't the most important thing to me. So I'm just going to make the content that I want to make. So basically, if you want to make money doing FPV YouTube, you won't. I mean, you will make some if you're good at it, but it's not going to be overnight with FPV. It took me almost 10 years of constant work to be just where I'm at today. Maybe you want to be on the other side of the camera. You enjoy posting your flight videos for fun, but you want to be on set, cinewhooping around for those big Hollywood bucks. Just about everybody I know that does gig work got started by themselves, just filming cool stuff and reaching out to companies, asking if they wanted a unique video of their brand or product. A lot of people do real estate videos and make damn good money doing it. But no matter what sort of gig work you're after, the important thing is just like YouTube, you just start. Start making reels, make some promo videos for friends, start practicing flying super steady, then reach out to people once you have something to show them. Now, I don't do much gig work because I don't really like it, but about once a year, somebody will reach out to me to film part of a music video or something like that because they saw some clips of mine on Instagram. I also ask for $500 a day as kind of fuck you money because I really hate sitting around on sets all day waiting for my turn, so I am glad it doesn't happen a lot. If this is the route you want to take, it can be lucrative, but just remember, there are 1,000 other assholes all trying to do the same thing, and they may have connections already with local businesses. So it's up to you to bring something new to the table. Just like being a YouTuber, the ones that stand out are the ones being creative and not just doing the same old thing. But like I said, I don't do much of gig work, so I'm pretty out of touch with that world. But I do know this guy, Sparkitect, who's done some pretty rad jobs, and I convinced him to tell y'all how he got started.
All right, so this is Sparkitect FPV, and you're about to join my masterclass. Well, it kind of fell on my lap. It was something that was like totally unexpected. Initially, during actually right before the lockdown, I had my first gig, and it was just like a simple wedding, and I would just start getting calls to start doing random things like track jobs. I would go to racetracks, like different like small events, and just kind of cover those.
So you just kept doing it. You just kept doing jobs with what you had at the time, which was a Squirt. I forgot about that. That thing flew like shit. Mine flew like shit, but that was early Cinewhoop, man.
Oh yeah. And I mean, like, I still have my original Squirt.
Nice.
And, yep. And I tell you, it's been a workhorse, like the frame's a little janky and it's like a little wobbly and stuff, but it still works for my purposes. And I have not retired it. Yeah, if it wasn't for the Squirt, a lot of us wouldn't be here.
So if people, they want to get into this, they see, you flying around New York, you doing track chasing, you chasing drift cars and stuff. How can somebody that's just getting an FPV that knows how to fly, how can they get started in gig work? Should they hit people up for jobs? Should they start like a reel to shop around? Like, how can somebody get started?
Well, usually I suggest just starting with doing stuff for themselves before they actually go out with the intention to try to make money, right? Because when you do it for yourself, there's still like this passion for you to want to push further and push harder. Mm-hmm. And once money's involved, then it kind of changes your perspective on things. So ideally, it's best to get out there, do your own work, do stuff that you're proud of.
I like that. I like that.
At some point or another, once you start taking on commercial work, there's going to be a lot of projects that you work on that you're not. And you're going to be doing things that people want you to do versus what you want to do. And so it kind of takes away and limits that creativity that you have. So really, I mean, you have to, in order for you to kind of like get yourself in the door, work on what you enjoy, let other people see that, and then create the demand for yourself.
That's sick. I'm so glad you said it that way. So you're saying do it for the love of it before you think about doing it for money, basically.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's so good.
But really, you want to keep the passion in it. Don't ever let go of like your base, your foundation, what made you, what brought you into this. If you were a racer, stick to racing. Don't let that go. If you're a freestyler, just stick to that. Don't let that go. One of the things that will allow you to be able to set yourself apart in this is implementing the stuff that you learned from your previous experience, right? So for instance, some of the best commercial pilots out there have a freestyle or racing background. It's important to have those key foundations there, so that way it could just keep you pushing and also just keep you doing things, keep it creative,
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything like that you want to personally add to the end of it or whatever?
First and foremost, get orbits out of your repertoire, all right? When you fly erratically, you do things like orbits and stuff like that, it detracts, right? It takes away from the overall. And so you have to think of the viewer who's watching this, right? And so when that person's watching it, and most people do feel this way, they get vertigo. They get a little dizzy when they start to see the drone spinning around, right? Mm-hmm. And that takes away from the overall product, right? So, a lot of times directors, producers, They see FPV, they're enamored with it. They're just like, oh, wow, this is great. But oftentimes they don't really think about the general public of the people that are actually watching it, right? I mean, like they'll think of a specific demographic. This is just going to be watched by, 20 to 40-year-olds, right? But like, no, not necessarily. There are other people that are going to be watching it as well. And so you have to take them into account. And so when you're flying and you're doing things like, think of it like this, like, what's your grandmother going to say when she watches it, right?
Yeah.
Like if she's gonna say that this makes me sick, turn it off, then you know what? You fail. Approach things like you have a broader audience than just yourself. At the end of the day, you're not the subject. The pilot is never the subject. Trick shots like flying through a gap or whatever like that. Like all that stuff, all it's doing is just showing what the pilot can do. It's taking away from what you're actually supposed to do. Like I want to show something a lot grander than just like going through a gap or just going through a little small tiny hole. I mean, there might be some instances where it's applicable and it goes with the story, but in most cases, it often doesn't. Don't make it about yourself. Make it about the project.
These all great advice, all fantastic advice for aspiring pilots. So y'all pay attention. Y'all pay attention to what you learned here, and maybe you could do some cool shit. All right, man. I really do appreciate you giving advice to the new folk.
Of course, yeah. I'm at the end of my masterclass.
All right, that is the end of the Sparkitect Masterclass. All right, homie, I appreciate you. You have a good rest of your day. I'm going to go back to this video now.
So there you have it. If you want to make a living with your FPV gear, you just need to start today and hope you get lucky pretty much. Either that or have a unique personality and a drive to hustle, or be even better at hustling and do some gig work. Either way, careers in FPV can unlock a lot of doors for people. I personally would not be here as sober or as comfortable as I am today if I had never discovered FPV. And that's not even mentioning all the amazing people I've met and friendships I've made over the way. Nope, that's fucking dumb. All right, everybody, I think that's going to do it for me today. Like I said, Patreon is my main thing. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Also some videos here. If you want to do FPV...